How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Rivian and we're going to be talking about NIO. They did have some pullbacks on the Friday. We saw this in the overall market, and many people are asking what levels do I see going into next week, so I'm going to share it in the video. So we're going to go over the charts. We're also going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. And if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below in the description as well. And after we go over the videos, the short interest, and all of that good stuff, we'll be going over the final recap for both of these stocks. So let's get into it right now. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Rivian. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at 32.48, being down 4.83%. On the low, it tested $32, and then on the high, testing $35.41. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 16.906 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 15.893 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and we also seen a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the hourly chart, let's pay attention to some key levels here. So we ended up testing support right at $32. If going into next week we break through this level, then the next area you want to see some support at is right here at 31.60 or 31.59. If we break through this particular level, that's where Rivian can start coming down to $30. So that is one thing you want to add to your notes. As far as for the upside is concerned, you want to see Rivian come back to actually reclaim these moving averages. It was trading above it before, but of course we did have the sell-off on the earlier sessions on the Friday, and we could see towards the end of the day it looks like it was trying to gain some momentum. So that means going into next week, at the bare minimum, I want to see it reclaim the 50 EMA, which is right here around $33 or $32.96. If it's able to reclaim it, then you want to see that momentum continue. And then the next level to watch will be right here around $33.68. If you can gain momentum above $33.68, that's where you can see Rivian going back to $35. So add that to your homework. And if we're able to break through the high at $35.41, which we saw on the day, I can see Rivian going to around 36 and as well as 37 into next week. So let's see what the stock decides to do. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Rivian. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 22nd, we have Bank, Julius, and Bear & Co. that purchased 30,086 shares. We have a closed position here. Then we have Spire Wealth Management that purchased 5,522 shares. We have ULAV Asset Management that purchased 100,000 shares. HBC Financial Services that purchased 300. Delset Capital Management LLC that purchased 63,721 shares. And Bogart Wealth LLC that purchased 17 shares. And Wedbush Securities Inc. that purchased 20,595 shares. So we can see, hey, institutions and funds are loading up. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 45.27%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.07 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 2 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow-free rate, it is at 0.70%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 20th, it was at 30.03, and then for the close of the 21st, it was at 45.27. So that is a big increase right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 11.30%, hey, Rivian does have some short squeeze potential here. So we're going to be taking a look at NIO. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $19.24, being down 6.96%. On the low, it tested $19, and then on the high, testing $20.78. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 55.498 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 47.092 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and you can see we had a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the hourly chart, the first thing that I want to point out to you guys, if you remember in my previous video, if we see further weakness in NIO, I was saying it can get down to $19, as you can see that the level was drawn out. And of course, we did get there, but it did see some momentum as we got closer to the end of the day. day. So what do we want to see going into next week? Can it reclaim the 9 EMA? That is the biggest question in the room here, which is right here around $19.49. So if we can reclaim $19.49, the next level you want to see NIO get to will be right here around 1989. This is right where we had that level where the sell-off continued. So if we're able to break above it, then I'd want to see NIO getting to the 50-day, which is right here around $20.16, which is very doable. But if we have a strong run, then we could see it going back to testing the high at 2078. That is a lot to ask. I'm going to be conservative. If we see NIO getting back to 2016, that will be an accomplishment because you want to see it consolidating and building support right at that $20 level so we can get ready for that next move up. And then upon doing this, the next levels you want to watch will be right here around 2150. If it decides to continue having a sell-off going into next week, that's where I can see NIO starting to trade down here around 18.5. So let's see how the stock performs going into next week. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for NIO. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we don't have any filings for the 22nd, but we do have for the 21st. We have Charter Oak Capital Management LLC that closed out their position, and as well as Gemmer Asset Management LLC that closed their position as well. We also have Urban Wealth Management LLC that purchased 400 shares, and as far as for the 21st, that looks to be about it. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 50.55%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 8.8 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated just now, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.33%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 20th, it was at 57.95, and then for the close of the 21st being at 50.55. So that is a significant decrease right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 5.19%, NIO doesn't have short squeeze potential. So to give you guys my final recap for both of these stocks, so let's start off with Rivian. So we saw on the Friday it showed support right at $32, and this is an area that you want to see hold up. If it breaks below this level, that's where I'm saying if we have further weakness in the market, it will be trading around $30, so please add that to your notes. As far as for a move to the upside, we want to see a recovery. You want to see some price action back above $33. Another thing to take into consideration, if we see momentum in this market for the coming week, I'm expecting Rivian to get to at least around $37. This is achievable, especially if it can pick up and gain some steam since it did reach a high on Friday around $35.41. And then for NIO, we ended up testing a low of $19, and you shouldn't be surprised about this. When we were doing our prior videos, I was saying if you see further weakness, it will come down to 19. It had a gap that needed to be filled, but there also is another gap on the chart, which is around $16. Am I saying that NIO is going to get there for the coming week? No, I just feel like it's a level of interest that you need to add to your notes. If you're looking for a reversal out of the play, then of course NIO needs to gain some steam and get to $21. The good thing about it is NIO is the kind of stock, once it gets moving, it can get moving very quickly. So if we have some upside in these markets for the coming week, I'm expecting NIO to move alongside with it. And if it doesn't, and if it decides to sell off, or if the overall market wants to sell off some more, keep an eye on that $16 level. It's very achievable for NIO to get there within the span of a week. But overall, both of these stocks did see a lot of selling pressure on the Friday, so we're going to have to wait and see what they do for the coming week, and I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. And if you don't know what's going to be coming up, not only do we have a lot of big tech earnings, we're going to be getting it from Microsoft, as well as for Facebook, Apple, Amazon. That will have an impact. And we also do have the Fed meeting and the GDP numbers that are going to be coming out. So there's going to be a lot of volatility, and I want to make sure you're prepared for that. And the best way to be prepared is having a game plan. So when I put these videos together, make sure you're checking out the chart analysis and match it up with your due diligence, and then come up with a strategy that is right for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how these stocks perform for the coming week. We'll talk soon.